Yeah, now close the door. Hello there and welcome to the news on African News 24 TV. I am Praise Adeleke. First, the headlines. President Bola Tinubu grants posthumous pardon to Major General Mamman Vatsa, Herbert Macaulay, others. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde tackles the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, for refusing to disclose the cost breakdown of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project. Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria launches cashless policy to address revenue leakages. Now to the news. We begin with the news of a clemency which the President, Bola Tinubu, is granting posthumously to some former Nigerian leaders. Some of them, Major General Mamman Vatsa, who was executed in 1986 after being convicted of treason. Vatsa was convicted under the then military head of state, General Ibrahim Babangida, who accused him of paying money to senior officers to mount a coup against his government. Aside him, the president also grants pardon to publisher of the newspaper, Lagos Daily News, nationalist and acclaimed founder of Nigerian nationalism, Herbert Macaulay. Herbert Macaulay was convicted by colonial government 2 times, first for fraud and then for sedition. The president also pardoned Ken Saro-Wiwa, a renowned Nigerian writer, environmental activist, and human rights advocate, who became a global symbol of resistance against governmental injustice. He was arrested and accused of involvement in murder for 4 local chiefs. Besides these men, President Tinubu also pardoned 172 others, bringing the number of those pardoned to 175. The news of the pardon was contained in a statement by the presidential spokesperson, Bayo Onanuga, via his X handle. The governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, has criticized the Minister of Works, David Umahi, for refusing to disclose the cost implication of the ongoing Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project. Makinde, who spoke in a now viral video today, said there was no reason for Umahi to dance around the cost when journalists asked legitimate questions. His comment follows a heated on-air exchange between Umahi and Arise TV presenter, Rufai Oseni, who has asked the minister to state the cost of the 700-kilometer project per kilometer. Umahi dismissed the question as elementary, insisting that costs vary from 1 kilometer to another and accusing the journalist of lacking technical knowledge. Reacting, Makinde defended Oseni's inquiry, saying public officials should provide clear answers about taxpayers' money. He compared the highway to his administration's project, citing examples of road construction in Oyo State with transparent cost analysis. If the prayers of council areas go through, the Attorney General of the Federation may soon lose the power to control local government funds. But the matter is before the Supreme Court, which has reserved judgment on the matter brought before it by the federal government, who is challenging the extent of state interference in local government funds. We have more in this report.
The Supreme Court has reserved judgment in the suit seeking to determine whether in a case that could reshape Nigeria's federation structure, the Supreme Court has reserved judgment in the suit seeking to determine whether in a case that could reshape Nigeria's federation structure, the Supreme Court has reserved judgment in the suit seeking to determine whether in a case that could reshape Nigeria's federation structure, the Supreme Court has reserved judgment in the suit seeking to determine whether in a case that could reshape Nigeria's federation structure, the Supreme Court has reserved judgment in the suit seeking to determine whether In a case that could reshape Nigeria's federation structure, the Supreme Court has reserved judgment in the suit seeking to determine whether the...
Some women are lamenting what they describe as the persistent underrepresentation of women in Nigeria's political system. The women under the aegis of the Forum of National Women Leaders of Political Parties in Nigeria are asking the National Assembly to pass a bill that will reserve some seats for women in both national and state assemblies. Our next report captures some other areas of their concern raised by the group who vent their disapproval with the system at a press briefing in Abuja. Of political parties in Nigeria is calling on the National Assembly to urgently pass the reserved seat for women bill. The proposed legislation seeks to create additional seats exclusively for women in both the national and state assemblies. At a media briefing in Abuja, the forum emphasized that the legislative action is long overdue and that gender inclusion is essential for national development and stronger democratic governance. The group urged President Bola Tinubu to demonstrate leadership by supporting and assenting to the bill once it is passed. They pointed to the persistent underrepresentation of women in Nigeria's political system, with only 4 women currently in the 109-member Senate and just 16 in the 360-member House of Representatives. According to the forum, this imbalance undermines inclusive governance. The forum also stressed that the goal is not just to fill quotas, but to provide a platform for competent and credible women to lead. They believe increased female participation in politics will ensure that issues affecting women, children, youth, and people with disabilities are adequately addressed. While acknowledging past setbacks, the women leader said today's generation is more prepared and better organized, with strong structures and clear strategies in place. They call for wider support from civil societies, youth groups, traditional rulers, faith leaders, the media, and development partners to ensure the bill is passed and implemented. Members of the Federal House of Representatives are suggesting ways of tackling the series of killings in different parts of the country, especially Niger and Kwara states. Their suggestion is that military camps be established in the volatile area. This forms part of conversation on the floor as the lawmakers resumes after about 2-month recess.
Members of the House of Representatives have resumed plenary with renewed calls for decisive legislative action. The Speaker, Abbas Tajuddin, sees the break as an opportunity for lawmakers to engage with their constituencies and gather insights to guide national decisions.
Your time away was spent among your constituents, listening to their concerns and aspirations. These interactions are the essence of representation and provide the insight we need to make informed legislative decisions.
To him, the 10th Assembly remains one of the most productive since 1999 in spite of prevailing challenges. He outlined constitutional amendments as a key priority for the coming months.
In the incoming months, our attention must turn to several urgent priorities. Chief among them is the constitutional amendment.
Urgent motions dominated the session, with lawmakers expressing concern over rising insecurity in parts of Niger and Kwara states. They want the military to establish super camps in volatile areas and provide relief for displaced communities following recent attacks that claimed several lives, including those of forest guards and community leaders.
People in Magamandaji, Ibeto, Tungamongoro, Raba, Atabo, and Salka no longer sleep with their 2 eyes closed and have since escaped to Kontagora for safety.
The tragic incident on Sunday, 28 September 2025 in Okiode, which were about 15 persons, including 11 forest guards, and Bale of Ogbayo, among others, were killed by armed bandits.
Proceedings briefly turned tense when a lawmaker raised concerns about the continued detention of IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu.
And it is important, Mr. Speaker,
It
that
is
this House
only when your
takes
privilege
cognizance
is
of
compromised
the issue of
or
President
denied
Nnamdi Kanu.
that you can bring it up. And I thought that particular position is talking in respect.
The Speaker ruled the motion out of order, directing that such matters be pursued through appropriate channels. As calm returns, the lawmakers continue deliberations on national security, governance, and other priority matters. After
Lifting the over 130 million Nigerians below the poverty line out of poverty requires a well-coordinated and strategic approach. That forms part of the conversation at the National Economic Summit, which enters a second day. At the event, experts also seek a national dashboard to track progress on child welfare.
of economic reform, particularly poverty reduction and child welfare. Expert emphasizes that lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty requires coordinated, adaptable systems that empower citizens to earn sustainable incomes.
I always say everywhere that if you ask me for the single silver bullet that will address the largest number of poverty issues we have.
As the National Economic Summit enters its second day, discussion focuses on the human side of economic reform, particularly poverty reduction and child welfare. Expert emphasizes that lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty requires coordinated, adaptable systems that empower citizens to earn sustainable incomes.
I always say everywhere that if you ask me for the single silver bullet that will address the largest number of poverty issues we have.
As the National Economic Summit enters its second day, discussion focuses on the human side of economic reform, particularly poverty reduction and child welfare. Expert emphasizes that lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty.
Kogi State Governor Ahmed Usman Ododo has reaffirmed his commitment to inclusive development, unity, and grassroots empowerment. 2027 election may still be about 2 years away, but the Kogi State Governor Usman Ododo is getting assurance of retaining his seat after the poll. A group of party leaders of the All Progressives Congress from Kogi East, while giving the promise, commend the governor's performance over the past 2 years of sitting on the saddle. In our next report, we tell you more and how the governor was recognized by the Nigerian Union of Teachers in the state with the North Golden Award to inclusive development, unity, and grassroots empowerment. He made this known while receiving stakeholders from the All Progressives Congress from Kogi East, led by retired Major General Patrick Akpa, at the Government House in Lokoja. The delegation commiserated with the governor over recent tragedies in Kogi West and the Ibaji boat mishap, while also commending his achievements in education that recently earned him the Golden Award of Excellence from the Nigerian Union of Teachers. They pledged their full support for the re-election of President Bola Tinubu and Governor Usman, and called for more infrastructure projects across the 9 local government areas of Kogi East, especially road needing construction and rehabilitation. Governor Usman thanked them, describing their visit as a show of unity and solidarity. He laments the underutilization of the region's rich natural resources and promised continued investment in rural infrastructure and free education.
We must be guided. We must be remembered. We must be called to do this, to look at what we are doing for the interest of our people. That is what we have just come to do. We need to look inward. We just have to look inward and fix our problems.
The governor also talks about plans to include Ibaji indigenes in appointment and promises to fix critical infrastructure. The event ends with the presentation of the North Golden Award to Governor Usman by Deputy Governor Joel Salifu. The governor dedicates the award to God and the people of Kogi State, calling it motivation to do even more. Kogi State Governor. And on the foreign scene, Israel's government has approved the ceasefire deal with the Palestinian militant group Hamas after an airstrike on Gaza neighborhood on October 9, 2025, leaving at least 4 people dead and trapping more than 40 others under the rubble. The decision made early Friday, October 10, 2025, clears the path for hostilities to cease within 24 hours and for Israeli hostages to be freed within 72 hours. Under the U.S. agreement led by President Donald Trump, Israel will release Palestinian prisoners and begin a phased troop withdrawal from Gaza. Prime Minister Benjamin confirmed their approval, saying the deal covers the release of all hostages, both living and deceased. The conflict has left over 67,000 Palestinians dead and strained Israel's global ties. Venezuela opposition leader Marina Corina Machado has been awarded the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize for her steadfast fight for democracy and human rights in her country. The Norwegian Nobel Committee announced the award today, praising Machado for her tireless efforts to promote democracy change in Venezuela and her commitment to achieving a peaceful transition from dictatorship to democracy. Machado, a longtime critic of President Nicolas Maduro, has faced political persecution, bans, and threats over the years. Despite this, she has continued to advocate for free election and greater freedom for Venezuelans. Her recognition has been celebrated by democracy activists worldwide, while many see it as a strong message in support of peaceful resistance and authoritarian rule. Let's go on a quick break. When we return, we will take you through the world of business, entertainment, and sport. Please stay with us.
Africa faces a major challenge of dominance as leaders refuse to step down and hold on to power despite time and age failing them. Here are top 10 African leaders who have refused to give up leadership positions despite various challenges. 1. Teodoro Obiang of Equatorial Guinea. He gained power in 1979 and is still in power as the president of Equatorial Guinea till date, making him Africa's longest-serving president. 2. Paul Biya of Cameroon. He gained power in 1982 as the president and at the age of 92 has reportedly declared interest to run for another term during Cameroon's next presidential poll. 3. Yoweri Museveni of Uganda. He gained power in 1986 after seizing a true rebellion and has served as the 9th and current president of Uganda since then. 4. Denis Sassou of the Republic of Congo. He gained power in 1997 and before then has served as the president between 1979 to 1992. He passed the new constitution in 2015, which enabled him to stand for another term in 2016 and 2021 presidential elections with a majority in the first round. 5. Paul Kagame of Rwanda, a politician and former military officer. He gained power in 2000 after leading the Rwanda Patriotic Front. 6. Isaias Afwerki of Eritrea is a politician and leader who gained power since independence in 1993 as the president of Eritrea and the former chairman of the People's Front for Democracy and Justice since 1994. 7. Ismail Omar of Djibouti. He gained power in 1999 as the president, making him the head of state and head of government of the Djibouti and the commander-in-chief of the Djibouti Armed Forces. He's been there up to date. 8. Faure Asingbe of Togo. He gained power in 2005 after his father's 38-year rule and is no longer in power as of May 3, 2025, after he was succeeded by Jean Lucien as the first president of the Council of Ministers, while the role of president became ceremonial. 9. Alassane Ouattara of Ivory Coast. He gained power as the president since 2010 with controversial re-election bids, but he remains the president of Côte d'Ivoire till date. 10. Ali Bongo of Gabon. He's a politician and dictator. He was the third president of Gabon from 2009 until he was deposed in a coup in 2023. He ruled for 14 years after succeeding his father's 42-year reign.
Welcome back on Business News. The Nigerian government is intensifying efforts to boost value addition in agriculture with new policies aimed at transforming the country from a raw material exporter to a hub for agro-processing. Recent reports from African Development Bank shows that Nigeria is expanding its network of special agro-industrial processing zones across several states. The zones are designed to attract private investment, create jobs, and reduce post-harvest losses by clustering processing plants near major farming areas. And on entertainment, Nigerian Afro-pop star Adekunle Gold has shared a heartfelt reflection on fatherhood, saying he can afford to fail as a musician, but never as a father. In an interview on the Not Just OK podcast, the award-winning singer revealed that his wife, Simi, and their daughter, Adejare, remain the most important part of his life and the driving force behind his success. Adekunle Gold explained that his family has become the center of his world, motivating him to stay grounded despite the pressures of his fame. According to him, fatherhood has reshaped his outlook on life, teaching him the importance of responsibility, love, and balance. He also stated that his greatest goal is to provide a better life for his daughter than the one he had growing up. The Oganraya Krona also disclosed that his hit song, My Love Is the Same, was inspired by his deep love for his family. He said the track captures the commitment to being present and supportive father, regardless of his busy career in his entertainment industry. And in sports, the Confederation of African Football has introduced new coaching license regulation aimed at improving technical standards and professionalism across the continent. Under the new policy, all head coaches and assistants taking part of the CAF competition are required to hold a CAF A or Pro license or an equivalent qualification from another confederation. CAF granted a grace period until the end of the 2026 and 2027 season for coaches appointed before May 4, 2025 to upgrade their credentials, while new appointees must already meet the requirement. That's the much we can take on this bulletin. Please follow us for more in our subsequent bulletins and on all our social media platforms for news and updates around the world. I am Praise Adeleke.